Chairman Thornberry, from the meetings you've been having here at the Shangri-La Dialogue, how would you sum up the security climate in this region?
Anxious. There is concern about North Korea, about freedom of navigation, and increasingly about terrorism. And so I think there is a lot of shared concern and perhaps less confrontation among the nations that have attended here, because we have a lot in common.
Is it fair to say that we have heard some voices here who are concerned that the United States will be increasingly focused on domestic rather than international challenges?
There are those voices and there are those anxieties, and yet what you heard was a very clear message from Secretary Mattis, among others, that the United States is engaged, will continue to be engaged. We are a Pacific nation and we will always be one. We have a bipartisan delegation from Congress that is conveying the exact same message from a separate independent branch of our government. So all nations have domestic issues we've got to deal with, but the United States is not going to turn its back on the challenges in this region. They affect us as well as everyone else.
How confident are you that a combination of the United States, the United Nations, and of course China can diffuse the situation in North Korea?
We have to give it our best effort. I don't think anyone can say that any effort will be successful. What we know, however, is that China has the most influence over North Korea, and you can debate exactly how much that is, but China must use every bit of influence it can muster, as well as the other nations must have the capability to defend ourselves from these increasingly provocative actions. And so we all hope that combination can resolve the issues with North Korea without some sort of military confrontation, but we must be ready for it too.
And is it possible that if China helps in diffusing the situation in North Korea, it could cool tensions in some way in the South China Sea?
Well, it is certainly true. As China rises in power and influence, it needs to rise in taking responsibility to help diffuse difficult situations. And all of us will be very pleased and relieved as China increasingly takes that responsible role, because it will indicate to us all that other issues and controversies can be diffused in a responsible situation as well. On the other hand, each of these situations are separate. In other words, there are some theories that the United States may try to make a deal and trade one for another. I do not see that happening.
Just finally, sir, given the extraordinary kaleidoscope of delegates attending the Shangri-La Dialogue, how valuable an event is it to you and other leaders?
Oh, it's incredibly valuable, because it is this kaleidoscope of nations with whom you can converse in a relatively short amount of time in a confined space, and that's unique. And so the benefit of sharing views, in this case, for example, conveying to a variety of nations that the United States is engaged and will continue to be engaged, and then hearing their concerns, all of that is invaluable. And so I think it was very important not only to have such a strong representation from the administration and the American military, but also those of us in Congress who have a fair amount of responsibility for national security on our own.
Chairman Mac Thornberry, thank you for your time.
Thank you.